Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. This is lesson number 9 from At-Tuhfah Al-Wasaabiyyah, and inshallah we're going to continue on with the alamat al-fi'l. Alright, so we stopped at sin wa sofa. Alright, so he said, وَأَمَّا السين فَإِنَّهَا عَلَامَةٌ تختص بالمضارع وتدل على تنفيس وهو المستقبل القريب. So this only goes on the mudari'. In the scene, it has the meaning of a tanfis, from nafasa yunaffisu, which is وهو المستقبل القريب, which means the near future. The near future. نحو سيقوم زيد أي في المستقبل القريب. So he gave you the example, سيقوم زيد, Zayd will stand, أي في المستقبل القريب, in the near future. Maybe in a couple minutes, maybe in an hour, whatever the case may be, but it's not going to be like a month from now or 2 months from now. سيقول السفهاء من الناس. So here from the Quran, سيقول السفهاء من الناس. And just like the last lesson, when we were talking about qad, and with the meaning of qad, that it goes on the mudari'. The mudari', and it has the meaning of tahqiq, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Alright, so here that's dealing with the qibla, right? And this is the beginning of that page. If you go to Surah Al-Baqarah, the beginning, سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ مَا وَلَّاهُمْ عَنْ قِبْلَتِهِمُ الَّتِي كَانُوا عَلَيْهَا. So this is talking about the changing. These are the sufaha. And the safih is a person who doesn't take anything seriously. Alright, he just acts like a fool. And this could be from ignorance, or it can just be because some people say that safih, it means jahil. But not all the time is a safih going to be jahil. Sometimes he could be jahid. So there's a difference between a jahil and a jahid. And a jahil, he just doesn't know. But the jahid from jahada, it means that that he knows, but he just rejects it. He doesn't accept it. He just wants to act like a fool. And of course, safih, it was a statement by Zuhair, if I can remember the line of poetry that he said in his mu'allaqah. He said, فَإِنَّ سَفَاهَةِ الشَّيْخِ لَا حِلْمَ بَعْدَهُ وَأَنَّ الْفَتَى بَعْدَ سَفَاهَةِ يَحْلُمِ. He said that, إِنَّ سَفَاهَةِ الشَّيْخِ. So that statement of Zuhair, he said, إِنَّ سَفَاهَةِ الشَّيْخ. So if a person grows old and he's still acting a fool, like what you see today. You see a lot of individuals, they're like 40, 50, and they're still talking with the same type of lingo that they spoke when they were in high school. Or they're still trying to follow the dances and all this, and you're trying to be cool like the younger generation and stuff. And they're like, dude, you're 40-something years old. You start acting like a grown man. This is the safahat al-shaykh that he's talking about. And the safahat al-shaykh, la hilma ba'du. La hilma ba'du means there's no hope for him. Like, la hilma ba'du, I mean, there's absolutely no hope for a person like this. If he is grown old and he's still at this type of level of acting stupid like that, then there's no hope for him. وَإِنَّ الْفَتَى بَعْدَ السَّفَاهَةِ يَحْلُمِ. Now this, whereas the opposite with a younger person, they could act stupid in their younger age, and there's still hope for them. That they'll grow out of it, that they'll start to mature and they'll start to act correctly. But once a person fails to reach that level of maturity, that means that they've never taken, because the maturity comes when you start to take life seriously. When you start to take life seriously, that's when you start to mature. When you start to take all your responsibilities and you take them seriously. If you've gone past that stage of having these responsibilities, you've had kids, you've had to pay rent, you've had to get a job and work and then support your family and do all of these types of responsibilities that people have to take on, and you fail to mature, there's no hope for you. There's no hope for you. There's no hope for you. And individuals like this, they just end up becoming like Allah musta'an. They just end up becoming like a burden on society. Because there's no benefits going to come from a person. Like, you're talking about a person who's reached like 45, 50 years old, still failing to take his responsibilities serious, failing to take life seriously. Still dressing like he dressed in high school, acting like he, and still, like I said, doing like TikTok dances at 45 years old. Come on, man. Seriously, grow up. Like, seriously. So that's what Zuhair is talking about. Inna safahat al-shaykh la hilma ba'du. Allah musta'an. There's no hope for a person who grows up like this. And he reaches that, he didn't reach the age of maturity because he never matured. He's still a child. He's still a child in a grown man's body. Allah musta'an. So he says, سَيَقُولُ السُّفَهَاءُ مِنَ النَّاسِ. The ignorant people and the fools, that they're going to say this. مَا وَلَّاهُمْ عَنْ قِبْلَتِهِمُ الَّتِي كَانُوا عَلَيْهَا. So he said, فَسِينُ حرف تنفيس وكل من يقوم ويقول فعل مضارع بالدليل دخول السين عليه. So all of these are فعل مضارع, and the evidence for that is دخول السين عليه. He said وأما سوف فإنها علامة تختص بالمضارع أيضا وتدل على تصويف, والتصويف هو المستقبل البعيد. So this shows a taswif, and صوف يصوف تصويفا, which shows a mustaqbal al-ba'id. This is going to happen further on in the future, not immediately in the future, but further on. He said نحو سوف يقوم زيد. Now this is going to be sitting for a long time, so you might as well not wait around for him. Go on and do whatever you got to do and come back. أي في المستقبل البعيد. And if he said something like أني سوف يسافر زيد أو سوف يذهب زيد إلى Indonesia or Misr or something like that, then that would have been better example than سوف يقوم. Because obviously the qiyam, julus is not going to take a long time. Now, unless he's like a person who sleeps a lot, and he's talking about yakumu here, it means istayqadha. سوف يقوم من النوم. Yeah, called yukun. If a person is, especially if he's under medication or something like that, then that would be correct. But if he's talking about a qiyam and a julus, it would have been better to use a different example. Wallahu a'lam. He said, قال تعالى سوف يؤتيهم أجورهم. سوف يؤتيهم, and يؤتيهم, as it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will give them their reward. أجورهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them their reward. Alright. فسوف حرف تسويف. وكل من يقوم ويؤتي فعل مضارع بدليل دخول السوف عليه. سوف عليه. So يقوم ويؤتي فعل مضارع فعل مضارع بدليل دخول سوف عليه. Okay. Alright, so now وأما تاء تأنيث ساكنة, تاء التأنيث الساكنة فإنها علامة تختص بالماضي. Alright, so this only goes on the ماضي, like ذهبت. In the previous example, ذهبت فاطمة إلى السوق. فإنها علامة تختص بالماضي وتدل على تأنيث الفاعل كما في النحو قامت هند. وقوله تعالى وجاء سكرة الموت بالحق. So here he gave you two different examples. He gave you قامت هند وجاءت سكرة الموت بالحق. So let's begin with the first one. قامت هند. So this is what you call هند is تأنيث حقيقي. تأنيث حقيقي, because this is مؤنث, it's a female, right? It's a female. So she's a female. So in this case, it's حقيقي, because you have two types of ta'nith. You have the ta'nith al-haqiqi, and then you have the majazi. The majazi is something that is not actual female, but it's it takes sort of the form, like it functions, and I guess you could say in the language is like a female. So like a shams, you say طلعت الشمس, غربت الشمس, غربت. All right, but this is not the ta'nith haqiqi, because it's not an actual female. All right, this is what you call ta'nith majazi. And in the second example, we said وجاءت سكرة الموت. جاءت سكرة. Sakara here is the shiddah, the pain, the difficulty of death. The shiddah, the severity of it that causes the person to even تغلب على عقله. Even it just takes over his mind, where he just can't even even his mind is gone. It's not functioning. He can't focus on it because of the shiddah. And this is the pain of death. جاءت وجاءت سكرة الموت بالحق. And this is reality, and this is what happens at the time of death. Obviously, it's not going to be easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ييسر لنا أمورنا. الله المستعان ويميتنا على الحق ويميتنا على الاستقامة. الله المستعان. وجاء سكرة الموت بالحق. So sakara here, all right. This is all right. So سكرة الموت مؤنثة وجاءت. All right. So here تأنيث ساكنة, and جاءت, just like you see قامت. هند. فكل من قام وجاء فعل ماض بالدليل لحوق تاء التأنيث به. So the تاء التأنيث is connected to it. So this shows that this is a fi'l. That this is a fi'l, because you cannot put the تاء التأنيث الساكنة on an ism. You can't say, like, for example, البيتت. البيتت. No. Okay. And you can say باتت with the fi'l. باتت هند في بيتها. أو باتت في بيت جدها. Yes, that's correct. وقالوا الساكنة أي في أصل الوضع. All right, so the word sakina, it means that there's a sukun on it. جاءت. And that's, he's saying that هذا في أصل الوضع. And this is the asl of it, the foundation of it is ساكنة. فلا يضر تحريكهما بالعارض. So it doesn't matter if something happens that causes it to change, because you have التقاء ساكنين, which will cause it to become مكسورة, as you're going to see in the example inshallah. He said تحريكها لعارض كالتخلص من التقاء ساكنين. So if you have ساكنان, if there's two sakinan, then you can't have sakinan together. So one of them, the first one the haraka has to change. So it becomes kasra. It becomes a kasra. So you say نحو قوله تعالى قالت امرأة العزيز. قالت, because the asl of it is قالت امرأة العزيز. But because now you have the iltiqa sakinain, the ta sakina, and then you have the mim. So these two, they can't be second. So the first one has to move. It has to have a harakah. So قالت امرأة العزيز. قالت امرأة العزيز. So now you have the تخلص من التقاء ساكنين, but the asl of it is still ساكنة. All right. فقال فعل ماض وتاء تأنيث الساكنة وإنما حركت بالكسر للتخلص من التقاء ساكنين وهما التاء والميم. Okay. And like he said, as far as the i'rab is concerned, you would say قال. قال فعل ماض مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب والتاء تاء تأنيث الساكنة وحركت بالكسر للتخلص من التقاء الساكنين وامرأة فاعل مرفوع بالفعل وعلامة رفعه الضمة ظاهرة على آخره وامرأة مضاف والعزيز مضاف إليه مجرور بالمضاف وعلامة جره الكسرة الظاهرة على آخره. Alright, so even though it has harakah here, but the asl of it is still sakin. The asl of it is still sakin. والحاصل مما سبق أن علامات الفعل المتقدمة تنقسم إلى ثلاثة أقسام. قسم مختص بالماضي وهو تاء تأنيث ساكنة وقسم مختص بالمضارع وهو السين وسوف وقسم مشترك بينهما وهو قد. And that's what we talked about that in the previous lesson, at the beginning of the previous lesson, that these alamat, he gave different alamat to show all the different categories and the different types of af'al. So you have the category that starts with the fi'l madi, which is the ta' ta'nith sakina, ذهبت أسماء إلى سوق خرجت فاطمة من البيت وما أشبه ذلك. وقسم مختص بالمضارع وهو السين وسوف سيذهب زيد إلى المدرسة بعد ساعة. Or you could say سوف يسافر زيد في الصيف. Alright, وقسم مشترك بينهما وهو قد. When قد, as we talked about in the previous lesson, it goes on the ماضي والمضارع. If it goes on the ماضي, then ماضي, then it has the meaning of a تحقيق وتقريب. قد أفلح المؤمنون, that's the تحقيق. قد قامت الصلاة, that's the taqreeb. And if it's connected with the مضارع, then it has the meaning of a taqlil وتكثير. So as we spoke about before, قد with the taqlil, قد ينجح القصول. قد ينجح القصول. This is of course taqlil. It doesn't very rarely happens. And if we say قد ينجح المجتهد, then this would be a takthir. And as we also talked about, it can also enter onto the مضارع. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قد نرى تقلب وجهك إلى السماء. Sorry, في السماء. قد نرى تقلب وجهك في السماء. Alright, so in this case it's a تحقيق. Alright, تحقيق, even though it went on the مضارع, and that's the mushtarik. Alright, with the tanbihat, inshallah, we're going to deal with this in the next lesson, inshallah. So we're going to stop here for today. And inshallah, because I got to make this lesson short today, inshallah. Got things to do, so Allah musta'an. So inshallah, we'll continue from here, from the tanbihat, inshallah, from the next lesson. وإلى هنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.